Chat, I have some great news for you. We are ready to go with the Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania run by iswimfly. So without further ado, iswimfly, take it away.
Hi everybody, I'm iswimfly. This is Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania, and today, Limey is here.
Oh my god, that's me. I'm here. Yes, I play this game. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
okay. I'll say it up front. I moderate this game. Swim modifies this game. We're not the same, but it's close enough.
That's
Together
correct.
we can create a marathon run.
Absolutely. Yeah, so one thing I will note before I get started, I'm using a couple mods here. One of them is kind of a marathon safe mod that just allows me to reset a stage in a specific way. We'll talk about that during the run. A couple other cosmetic mods, and getting into it with character select, I am playing with a bunch of custom characters. I'm going to be playing as Samba de Amigo, who was made, or the model was ripped from one of the games, I forget which, and was animated lovely by our community's own Deadline, with completely unique animations, so shoutouts to Deadline for that. With all that said...
And in chat too.
Huh?
I said and they're in chat too.
Yeah, they're in chat too, let's go. Alright, so with all that being said, I'm ready to start the SMB2 Marathon. This is a collection of 140 stages, all from Super Monkey Ball 2. We will be playing through Beginner, Advanced, Expert, and Master, all in that order. We are going to be doing warp goals, which we will get to fairly early on in the run, and I think I'm ready to go with that. So if we want to get the timer ready, I will be going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
Thank you. So really quickly, we're going to be starting in SMB2 Beginner. In this game, it is referred to as Casual because they decided to rename a lot of the category names from the original Monkey Ball games to Banana Mania. Banana Mania
for literally like no reason. It's just like fun and whimsy.
Yeah, a little bit of whimsy.
So normally they're called like Beginner, Advanced, Expert, and then Master, but it's Casual, Normal, Expert, Master, right? In this.
Yeah, and they kept Expert and Master the same, like
for no reason. But
yeah, just for fun.
One thing that a lot of people think about this game is they think it's a remake of Monkey Ball Deluxe, which is kind of true, kind of not true. It's a remake of 1 and 2 put together as like a multi-game with the content from Deluxe also in the game, even though Deluxe is a compilation of 1 and 2, which is a different thing than what this game is. I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah.
You get to just play the Monkey Ball 2 levels in this. That's all you have to do.
And this game, that was a little bit weird. This game does have a different set of physics, so it is not just a pure graphical overhaul. There is a completely different physics engine running underneath in the Unity game engine. There we go.
Okay, yeah.
That is our first warp goal,
difficult.
so I'm gonna skip ahead of stage 5, save me a little bit of time there. Back to the physics though, in the original Monkey Ball games, there are diagonal inputs. Diagonal inputs are stronger when it comes to gaining speed, as well as bouncing off walls due to the way that the physics work. That is known as wall boosting. In this game, that really doesn't exist. Other than using the walls for lineups and angles, I'm not going to be wall boosting at all. I'm going to be using cardinal inputs of up, down, left, right as much as I can to go as fast as I can.
Yeah, the inputs in this game are like weighted a little bit, but just in the original Monkey Ball trilogy, because the game pulls inputs in the squares, just the further away you are from the square, the higher like your acceleration is.
One thing to note is that a couple of these stage designs are different between story mode and challenge mode. That was one of those stages. Windy Slide does not play like that if you were to watch a story mode run of this game. Some of the time in challenge mode, the starting platform sizes are different than their story mode variants. So while I run both of these, while I run both categories, story mode and challenge mode, it is a little bit of a different muscle memory, like skill set in that sense. But this is going to be a lovely 20-second, basically auto-scroller of me just turning left and right whenever the game demands it, not really doing much, and then we're going to enter the extra stages. So, again, we said that this is a marathon category of SMB to all of its categories. So we're going to be playing the original stages within those categories, and then the extra stages. if you beat them without losing a continue in the originals or using the helper function in the remakes, the helper function doubles your timer and allows you to initiate slow motion.
It also gives you an arrow to like point you towards the goal if you get like lost.
Yeah, it's broken. It doesn't work very well, but it's really funny.
Yeah.
So if you don't use the helper function at all and don't, I'm gonna fall.
Ah, that's close.
There's just a little bit of weird collision on this one. It's not consistent in any way. This game is non-deterministic, which is worth noting. Where the original games, if you do the same inputs every single time, you'll get the same output. This game is not that way. This game also has pause strats, which I'm going to use here. Pause strats work differently from the original games to the remake. Pause strats in this game, the game does not read your controller input for the frame that you are paused, meaning that to do a pause strategy, the game essentially stops reading my controller, which for a precise setup that I'm trying to do with a pause strat like that, generally means that I don't have the opportunity to repause like you would in the original games. You can do what's called rebuffering in the original games, where you just look for the right frame by just constantly repausing. That's not really a thing in this, except for a couple of stages where you don't do any inputs to begin with. Another warp goal here. Gonna skip past.
Yeah,
I forget which one.
To put it like in a
screen.
slightly different way, just imagine if, like in the original games, you rebuffer, you like pause literally every single in-game frame to like try and find a specific frame. You can't do that in this because it will just keep reading your controller input as neutral, which it will reduce your speed to make you not get tricks.
Exactly. There are a couple stages where we are going to see rebuffering happen if I miss the frame, just because it's possible on, like I said, strategies where you stand still.
Whoa, you can make that cycle in this game?
Yeah. I did something there actually.
Way easier than in
another mechanic we haven't talked about yet, cam locking. In this game, you have access to a manual camera, the C stick or the right stick on any controller that isn't the GameCube controller. Allows you to control the camera in this game. So by holding the camera perfectly straight behind my character, by just holding perfectly down, the camera will no longer move from behind Samba for the entirety of the level, as long as I am holding this down angle. Which allows for just precise movement like that without having to worry about the camera moving from behind me. It also allows for a couple consistent setups that we'll see later in the run. I'm gonna try to make a fast cycle here. This is gonna be risky.
There's very, very thin platforms that you have to go across, and obviously in a run you'd want to do them fast. It makes it a bit easier because if you can get the lineup with the camera, then your camera won't move and you can kind of adjust on the wire a bit easier.
Alright, so that is the beginner stages done. We are now moving into normal or advanced. This is probably my comfort zone out of all of these categories. I'm going to be going for stuff that I'm pretty sure I'm the only person who goes for these in this game. We'll see that pretty early on. But yeah, this was the first category I started speedrunning, and I love telling this story in marathons, but this game has a ghost feature, kind of like Mario Kart, where if you submit a time to the in-game leaderboards, people can use your ghost and like race against your ghost and try and compare times like that. And the first way that I was in a world record video was somebody else, shout out to Peter's Inc., Peter, using my ghost to get a lineup that I knew better than he did. Which was really funny to me. And then, like a week or two later, I ended up actually taking the record from him. But I always find that story really funny, because I was in a world record video playing the game before I was actually holding any world records. Anyways, this is going to be a pause strat where I'm moving, and it's a really precise strat that I'm pretty sure I'm the only person who goes for. I think I missed it. Never mind!
Whoa!
I'm the only person who does that strat as far as I know.
That is a wild strat.
Yeah, it's a scary one.
In Monkey Ball 2, there is like a way where you hit off the slide and kind of adjust in, and it's a little scary. But that's just like, you don't even see the goal when you go in.
There's a couple of repeat backgrounds that we'll see throughout the entire run, by the way, like how we just got out of the Jungle Island background. This was because in each category, you generally start in Jungle Island for all the categories except for Master, and the backgrounds used always are from story mode in Super Monkey Ball 2. I said before that some of these levels overlap with story mode. Most of them do, except for the extras. That's unfortunate. Kind of just have to take that time loss. Gravity Slider's just kind of like that.
Ready, go!
But
yeah, we're gonna be playing pretty much all the same levels as like story mode, except not in the same order sometimes, and also in different backgrounds. The backgrounds in story mode are like the quote-unquote canon order, but in like expert, for example, they're just in a completely wacky order. If you know the lore, then it's like a little bit weird to like try and figure it out.
I'm gonna focus here. Oh, hit off the party
I
ball.
saw the vision. That's terrifying.
Yeah, this was the strat that Peter Zink used for my lineup for. To get in the red goal by sitting on the same spot as me. I did it again.
Yeah, speaking of party balls, there's one difference between Banana Mania and the original games where the party balls actually played a bit kinder, but the goalposts are a lot meaner in this game because they just feel bigger sometimes. But the party ball, sometimes like you hit a party ball and then it like holds you, gently puts you down onto the ground and you can go into the goal. But if you hit a party ball in this game, if you hit a ghost in goalpost in this game, then you'll just like go off the map in a random way, just like completely decimated. It's awful, it's terrible.
Yeah, the goal
But it's,
designs
like,
are kind of like trapezoidal, kind of like 2 triangles on each side. So unless you hit like dead center on those triangles, you are just getting launched to either side.
Yeah. Well, I did not know that you can do that. I didn't know
Yeah.
the cycle lined up for that.
Ready, go!
World 3 has some of the
Mentioned
coolest
earlier-
strategies.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just because like a lot of the levels are really big or have a lot of moving parts, so you can just kind of make cycles or hit yourself off.
Yeah, I don't remember if you've
Stuff.
seen the updated version of this strategy, but I'm going to be going for something here that I might have to restart the level a couple times for.
Ready,
Now's a good time to explain first and second load in this game, but I'm going to do that once I finish. Yeah, okay. So,
I see the vision.
ready, go!
Yeah.
in this game...
in this game,
God.
Ready,
yeah, in this game, for some reason, when you load into a level like the first time, like if you go from like the menu or if you go from a different level into like the level that you're playing, it'll have a different cycle than if you were to retry the level once you're already in it, which makes some strats just straight up not work because you're just going to be on a different cycle. And this level has so many moving parts that it just
ready,
would not work on the second load.
Yeah, so what I'm doing here is I'm using a mod that just allows me to take this marathon safe and just go for the strategy as many times as I want without having to quit out. Because in challenge mode, you would normally only be able to go for this one try. But it's a really cool strat, and I really want to go for it. there's
That's
the
kinda what I
full
was talking about,
vision.
where like the party ball can just like grab you and just like put you down gently, but Swim had a little bit too much speed still.
Something I'm doing there is I'm rebuffering. Since I'm not inputting anything before getting to that pause frame, I can just kind of rebuffer down to the frame that I'm looking for, which is nice.
Aren't there some pause strats in this game that have like a specific range where you have to pause so you get the neutral input, and it's like,
Yes.
it is like factored in. Okay.
I think I'm dying a little too much to this, so I'm just gonna play it safe and get through it. You saw the full vision. It's a really difficult strat that is not consistent in the slightest, and I wouldn't go for it in a true marathon run, like SMB2 marathon run, but I like to show it off in marathons because it is one of the cooler tricks in this game. There's one more that's kind of like that, but it's a really quick reset, so I'll be going for that later in the run, assuming that the run does not go catastrophically wrong, knock on wood, between now and then.
ready,
I do not have wood anywhere near me. Oh no.
I'm not
Might
going,
be
but
so
don't
close.
worry. We're
Okay.
good.
I love the setup for matterings in this game because it's just like so satisfying.
It's so cool, you just get to go straight through.
ready,
Cascade is originally known as Downhill, but because of stage naming in SMB 1 and 2, SMB 1's Downhill took the name Downhill, so they had to rename this in Deluxe. There we go.
Yeah, so there's like a downhill and then there's a downhill hard in Monkey Ball 1 because all the Monkey Ball 1 levels did not have any names.
ready,
But because of downhill and downhill hard, that one was named Cascade, and there's like a few others like Hub and instead of Bowl.
ready,
Yeah, so with this pause strategy that I'm about to do, I'm just gonna... Actually, wait, no, it's later than this. There we go. I'm looking for about 86, and if I get this right... Nice, okay. That skips a stage. Now, there's there's a stretch of stages here that I don't really have to talk about, so if you have any marathon announcements, feel free. There's just gonna be some, like, monkey ball gameplay of me going fast, so go nuts.
You know the vibes.
There's actually a perfect announcement timing because we just opened a new milestone.
Ooh.
So if we get $2,000 total for the Final Fantasy Type 0 HD run, we will give Chichu a hat in that game. So we're gonna try our best to get to 2K by hopefully tonight, but before the run begins. So get your donations in for that if you want to see that.
Please get your donations in. It's a great cause.
Mm-hmm. Triangle is a fun stage because it's normally a hold-up, but there's a chance that, like I said before, this game is non-deterministic. Holding up does not always mean that I go in the goal. Sometimes it just does not let me in. But this is one of those times where it lets me in. I just don't have to do anything. Like, I can just hold up and it's fine.
I am gonna be so for real. I've never really held up on that stage, so I didn't know that you can't, like... I didn't know you can't go in sometimes, like there's a chance. Because I always do the Monkey Ball 2 version. Aww.
Yeah, this is one of the hardest stages in the game, admittedly. Launchers. I'm going for the green goal specifically because I want to get to the stage that this warps me to coin slots rather than play randomizer. That's what you're gonna do. Wait a minute.
Oh, I know that one.
I know that one. I don't know where I am. Wait, I know where I am. Wait.
Front side right now.
Hang on, if I give it 2 more cycles, I can try it again over here. I'm pretty sure. If I know my math
I think it's
correctly.
almost all the way back around.
I'm pretty sure it's gonna be here again. I'm so...
Yep.
Let's go. I have way too much useless knowledge of this game.
Ready?
I can't believe that worked.
Clip that. Clip that one.
Yeah, I have a lot of useless knowledge in this game. I'm hopefully gonna get to show off a little bit of that really soon. But...
A lot of useless knowledge. Like, do you think you'd be able to beat the game like if all the like levels were invisible?
Oh my god, you mean Invisible, the stage pack I created?
Ready?
Great tee up.
Yes, that one. I know that one.
Yeah, I have a custom stage pack-ish
Oh,
that
cool.
essentially turns 99% of the stages invisible and most of their textures invisible, with a few fun exceptions if you know the game. And I love doing speedruns of that. Specifically story mode. I think story mode was like the best of that pack. There we go. There's Arthropod after a few attempts.
Yeah, Arthropod just has a completely different cycle in this game, because in Monkey Ball 2, it just like, the goal starts on the bottom so you're able to fall into it. But in this game, you have to like fall into it from the side, which that's just like a nasty like angle to get into.
Yeah.
So props to you for getting that in a couple of tries.
Thank you.
I'm just obsessed with seeing Samade Amigo in this game.
Yeah, custom characters are a thing. The modding community is small but really strong. We have custom characters. I forgot to do the setup. We have custom characters, custom stages, which are a little bit of an early work in progress, but are very, very rapidly becoming a cool thing that we are working on.
I gotta say,
one of
if
those
you've
off
ever
later.
seen like any of the early Monkey Ball 2 custom levels, like the custom levels in this game eclipse it, just because it's a PC game and there's like a lot of different progress going on, but like all the levels that I've seen so far are just like getting up there in quality with like the Monkey Ball 2 ones. So definitely, if you're into game modding and playing Monkey Ball and playing difficult games, like check it out.
Yeah, I'd highly recommend picking this game up on PC if you're going to. It's technically on Switch, Xbox, and PlayStation, but there's a couple things on PC that just make it so much better. Let's go UFO skip.
I love UFO skip in this game
I
because
love
you just
UFO
like
skip.
wait for the party ball to kind of fall in a way where it just lets you in, and then you just fall in.
I'm gonna try ring bridges, but this is admittedly kind of a risky one.
Ooh.
Wow, okay.
I cannot believe that.
That's a very risky one. I was gonna give it one try and stop, but first try. Love to see it.
Yeah, ring bridges in 2, like you have to do a pause strat for, and it is one of my least favorite because the adjustment is like awful and terrible.
Dome.
I forgot domes existed. I almost thought it was like a hold up, and then you didn't hold up.
Well, it's like it's a hold up with a pause strat and a little bit of adjustment to be safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my comfort area. I love this section of the game.
Ready? Go!
Yeah, and if you're like watching this, you're thinking it's hard. One, kind of is. I'll say it. But if you want to like learn how to do it, you can always join the Monkey Ball Banana era speedrunning community, which is the 3 newest games in the series: BBHD, this game, Banana Mania, and Banana Rumble on Switch.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions about the run, either while we're doing it or after. If you want to join that Discord, by all means, we welcome new runners. Mania, admittedly, is not a very active game because Banana Rumble is the latest in the series, so we have a few more active runners for that one. However,
Yeah,
I
just
still love this game
top
with a
tier.
burning passion and still actively mod it to this day. Both like the speedrun leaderboards and in-game. So I am always happy to talk about this game and play this game and do anything for this game.
Ready?
With that being said, we are now into the expert section of the run, SMB2 Expert.
Oh, you took what I was gonna say.
So we are now...
I assume that skip is possible, or is it? Not?
It is in story mode. Because of the difference in starting platforms, it is
Yeah.
not possible in challenge mode, at least doing it that way. If you were to back up on the starting platform, I believe it's possible. I just do that to get like a little bit of a chip, lose the friction, and
Yeah.
gain a little more speed.
Ready?
Yeah, in story mode, there's a skip there where you can just get a bounce all the way up to the goal, and it is awful and terrible, and I don't like it in Monkey Ball 2.
Ooh, we get to talk about first load again. Okay, so
yay!
Ready?
if you noticed on the entry of this stage how it did that spin-in animation and kind of showed off the name of the stage with that big yellow text, that's what we refer to as first load when the stage spins in like that and causes a difference in cycles that we talked about earlier. Every other time after that, you'll notice that we just kind of drop into the stage normally and don't really get that animation. So, Jump Machine in challenge mode, it is actually faster to jump off the side because the first load cycle is so bad that it's faster to take that death and then just keep going. So,
I didn't know that. That's so beast.
yeah, so there's a dead cycle where the trampoline won't give you enough height, which is a problem within this game that just kind of happens. But on second load, it is just like kind of perfect. And allows for that.
That's like perfect height too.
Like, it's so
Yeah,
nice.
So for Jump Machine, there's 3 layers of it, where there's like the bottom layer, which I'm not counting, and then there's the first layer, which has the blue goal, the second layer has the green goal, and then the final layer with no other platforms is just the red goal. So it's a bit challenging to get up there, and doing it that fast is
Ready?
incredible.
I don't think we've mentioned it up till this point, but every stage in this background, by the way, is a bonus stage where I don't have to play it. I can just throw myself off and it progresses. They were used to give you bananas in the original the original games for like extra lives and whatnot, but that doesn't really matter in this game because
Oh,
they
I
did
love
away
this
with the
station.
live system. What's up?
I love that level in this.
I love combo.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is another really cool section of stages that just kind of shows off like good movement. There's a really difficult stage that's going to be coming up soon. Literally the next stage after Brandished, where I get to hold up.
Ready?
Oh, I forgot it's a hold up in this game.
Yeah, it's a hold up in this game. It's awesome. This is...
Yeah, I never ran Monkey Ball 1 or 2, like any
Ready?
challenge mode stuff in this game. I like pretty much only did the extra modes in this. But yeah, this is tiers. This is one of the hardest levels in the entire game. Basically, to get the red goal, which is the fastest, it skips most levels. Also has the shortest fire. Swim has to balance on this tilted, curved, what, like 0.1, 0.2?
I think it's a point 1 or
wire?
point 2.
Yeah, I think it might be in the middle of this game, but I know in Monkey Ball 2,
Yay!
it's 0.2. Yeah, it is really, really hard. I'm used to doing it by just pausing the entire way, so I can basically slow down the game and like be able to figure out where I am.
Alright, so in the spirit of my useless knowledge, and because this run is going really well... There's a leftover piece of collision down here. This isn't a glitch, this is just like a leftover piece of collision that we found by using a somewhat development tool. That I can just be down here and hang out. But anyways, enough of my quick detour.
Ready? Go!
There's another stage with missing collision like that we will kind of have to pass later on. Oh, I got robbed. I hit the goalpost there.
Ready? Go!
But that being said, we kind of have another break, so if there's any announcements, feel free.
Yeah. We talked about the milestone incentive. That's still going on. We're working towards 2K, so any donations towards that are greatly appreciated. We also do currently have a bid war going on for Project Plus. It is the in-game tag. So you get to pick the name of the in-game tag for character. We have 4 bid options currently. We have Mario, Gamer, the :3 emoji, and Noga. Currently in the lead is the :3 emoji with $10.
Let's go.
Definitely beatable. So if you have any preferences for that, get your donations in towards that goal. We'll also go towards the milestone incentive, a great 2-for-1 deal, and you're helping a good cause, so really a 3-for-1 deal.
Yeah, this is kind of like the boring section of the run, admittedly. Expert in the middle here, also known as World 7 in story mode, kind of has a lot of long stages that don't really do anything. This is kind of the only cool one where I'm going to do a pause strat. I'm just kind of... yeah, that.
Yeah, this is more or less just like the gauntlet of the game, where all of the levels are kind of long, but just pretty difficult and require a lot of like strong fundamentals. And there isn't that much you can do to make it go that much faster.
That was a little silly.
Ready, go!
That's too late. I'm trying to manually do it. Of course, the one that I don't get the pause strat set up is the one that goes in. Right, okay. You take this.
Ready, go!
Talking about like the manual, like just kind of takes skill. There you go. Manual adjust on that strat. Another thing you mentioned earlier is a pause strat that relies on the neutral input, which you saw earlier. I didn't really point it out, but we're gonna see it again here on Flock. By having that pause for a singular neutral frame, it actually just slows you down perfectly to give you enough, like to give you the perfect amount of speed to chip over the entire stage coming up. It works on both first and second load, fortunately, so I don't have to reset the stage. I'm having a little bit of trouble here on Civ. I'm not getting there quick enough to give myself time to set up.
Yeah, so one difference that is like really small, but like it matters a lot for this level, between Monkey Ball 2 and Banana Mania, is because in Monkey Ball 2 you're more prone to zorping, which is basically you go over like a platform where you're supposed to like get a little bit of height, you're like supposed to chip up. You don't get that as much in this game, where most of the time you just get hit. This end, like the Civ here, moves so fast on Monkey Ball 2 that it just kind of sometimes just helps you align, and it's fine, but you have to be really precise in Banana Mania.
Yeah.
Ready,
It essentially boils down to a wire stage, kind of like Tears that we saw before, where the stage is really thin there, and it's just kind of like tricky to navigate. That's Flock for the pause strat, the neutral frame that I get by just pausing for that singular frame. It just kind of gives me the perfect amount of speed. Here's another stage with invisible collision. If you notice the camera glitch there, it's because there's an invisible collision just in the middle of that starting platform. We've dubbed it Francisca in honor of its sibling Francis, which we will not be seeing in this run, but there is another piece of invisible collision. The first one that you'll probably run into casually if you ever play this game in original stage mode. We love Francis on long course and original stage mode. The original invisible collision that kind of sparked the hunt that I did for the rest of the invisible collision in this game.
Oh, I forgot that this level's so much kinder to you in this game.
Yeah, having the manual camera really helps there with just kind of being able to hold myself perfectly straight and fall that way.
ready,
I'm gonna go for a fast
much
strat
also
on
you have
8
to, like, land with
bracelets.
your diagonals. Ooh, fast strat on 8 bracelet.
Okay.
Uh,
Honestly, I didn't die, which is a really weird scenario. Usually I just kind of like get sent off the stage if I don't get the full skip, but I was trying to do a skip that would just send me all the way to the end there, and just send me from that first ring to the last one. Unfortunately, I kind of got stuck in there because I didn't get a great angle going in.
ready,
This is another stage where there's kind of that neutral pause where I'm just not going to do anything, I'm just going to hold up. I'll adjust a little bit here because it just allows for a little more safety. But it's essentially another hold-up stage with that neutral pause. Just kind of gives me the perfect amount of speed to do that trick.
ready, go!
And then overall, there's going to be a couple like really cool just kind of movement checks in this world. There's a stage coming up where I'm just going to have to wait for a timer cue. Actually, there's two of them in this background, where I essentially have to wait for a timer cue to skip a couple stages. So let's see. There it is. Very nice. That was risky.
That is really hard. Yeah.
Ready?
And
This
now-
level's also really hard casually if you are playing this for like the first couple of times. It's rough.
Yeah.
Basically, this like big vortex in the middle spins, and you have to like kind of glide across it because your monkey in the ball is not going to keep up with the entire vortex, right? So Slim has to do a lot of like just fine control here to make it here. In Monkey Ball 2, you're able to just jump across, but it works a bit differently in this game, I'll say.
Yeah, there is a pause trap for that stage that isn't consistent when it comes to the green goal, and the stage that I just skipped is known as Warp, and if you've played this game or the originals, you know that Warp is not fun to play. So I'm going to take it safe on that green goal and skip past Warp. Whoa, bouncy. Bouncy again. Thank you, trampolines. That's another stage that's kind of like a wire stage, I like to call them, where it's a really precise little section of collision that I have to kind of ride along to get what I want out of it. Similar to Civ and, like I said, Tears initially. That was scary.
I'm seeing this question from Pat for you.
Sure.
Asking, what kind of games does iswimfly generally play?
That's a good question.
I mean, other
Primarily,
than Monkey Ball and anime, I guess.
I'd say I play this one. I play Banana Mania largely as a speedrun game. I've started playing a new game recently called Sea Frog that I am falling in love with and am going to be streaming speedruns of soon. That's a hard trick that I just kind of did.
I like forgot that it's like hard in this game.
But any game that really has good movement, and generally platforming games, I'm a really big fan of. Like, I don't speedrun it, but casually, I love games like Celeste and Hollow Knight. I'm looking forward to Silksong. All sorts of platformers like that. But yeah, largely, in terms of speedrunning, I would say Monkey Ball is the big one. This is the stage I talked about where I'm going to be resetting really quickly a bunch of times to it. Because I'm looking for a particular pause frame to do something really cool. But I keep getting one frame below it. I'm looking for 59.9. And I keep getting just after that. But if I can get this to work, this is a really cool pause strategy that was originally discovered in story mode, and I discovered that today this also works in challenge mode. So now I'm going to be doing that rebuffering that we talked about before, where the neutral inputs actually help me here with the lineup for this. Now, assuming that everything went to plan, it did not, unfortunate. I'll give it one more attempt on the pause, and if not, I can just play this the normal way, the intended way. But I do want to try and see if I can do this, because this is a really cool strategy, where essentially I'm just going to try and skip the entire ring that I have to go around.
Yeah, it saves a lot of time.
There we go. I love that strat
It is
so
effortless.
much. I figured that one out myself. That one is near and dear to my heart. And yeah, with that being said, we kind of have another break here until we get to the Expert Extra stages. So again, if there are any marathon announcements, feel free to chime in here while we wrap up the rest of the base game of SMB2 Expert.
Yeah, I'll just give a quick reminder that we're raising funds for Go Rescue, and that the Go Rescue website has its own section for adoption success stories. In between runs, you can check out gorescuedogs.com/success stories for some adorable pictures of heartwarming tales of dogs. I've seen it; they're very, very good pups.
Big fan of dogs.
Big fan of dogs.
Yeah, so we're almost done with the main game of Expert. Like, there's still going to be Expert Extra and then Master. But this is like the longest length of difficulty in the game. Or I guess the longest string of a single difficulty in the game. Because
Yep.
Expert is 50 levels compared to Beginner being 10 and Advanced. It's not called that. Instead of Casual being 10 and Normal being 30, yeah, Expert is 50, so it's the longest.
Awesome. And then
I had to remember, I had to lock in.
yeah, and then including extras, it's 20, 60, or it's 20, 40, 60, 20 again. This is another precise
Headline
stage.
says, swim, you just beat E46 guillotine IL world record, by the way.
Oh, that's awesome.
Point 15 has been achieved yet. Do a puzzle now.
Guess I have to go do that strat pauseless. Yeah, this game is an active individual level community who are just people who grind the individual levels instead of whole categories of this game. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. And go for just the fastest times as possible on singular stages, which is a really cool thing to see. And you don't... A lot of those strats differ from the real-time differences, or the real-time categories, so there's a lot of strategies you won't see me do that just are faster, but they're not reliable in a full category section, or a full category run. That little skip there on Giant Swing is, though, and it allows me to get that cycle that I'd otherwise miss if I went around the intended way. Now's the time where I remember that I need to pull up my phone, because there's a set of pause frames in this game that are really variable depending on the frame that you pause. And I need to pull up the pause sheet because I do not remember all of them off the top of my head. It has been too long. Oh, get up there! Get up there! No!
In Monkey Ball games with pause strats, there's a lot of... They're called pause trees, where if you pause on a certain frame, you can still finish the level, getting the strat, but you have to pause on different frames, and it becomes like a big mess if you don't get like the completely optimal, like, shortest set. So
I'm having fun.
having an entire sheet with it on their phone is not out of the norm.
Can I get up, please? No? Okay.
You're getting bullied by the stage.
I'm being bullied by 5 drums. This is not cool. On the bright side, the next stage is pretty cool, and I'm going to go for a fast strat on it. Here we go. There we go. Isn't that nice?
Yay.
Ready? Go!
Alright, so here's free throw, where we're going to skip, hopefully, 2 stages. And I'm going to go for the swish, because why not? Overshot.
Barely not.
Oopsies.
Not quite an airball, but almost there.
Alright, I'll take it safe. I'll do a 1 bounce. Going for the swish is fun, but definitely not something safe. Ugh.
Yeah,
That's not
even
fun.
professional athletes have to dribble, so it's good control.
Alright, run it back, run it back. Free throw is kind of giving me ownage. There we go. That's what you like to see.
Ready? Go!
Alright, construction is a really cool strategy where I'm gonna hit the side of the platform and fall off.
I guess.
Yeah.
Ready? Go!
But what I'm trying to do is hit the fast forward button, then hit the rewind button and go up the side. I'm gonna look for the falling animation on Amigo, which starts now. 1, 2, 3. Hopefully bounce over and into the goal. That is a lot more precise than it looks. And now I need to pull up that pause sheet I was talking about. And I think I missed it, but we'll check. Where is Train Worm? 56 is a possible frame if I do that. I guess not. Alright. This is...
Try really hard.
This stage is really annoying because of this strategy. 53 is directly hold right. There we go. Okay. Yeah, again, that could have just been the non-deterministic physics just giving me a little bit of a hard time there. But now we are into SMB2 Master. Although the background didn't transition, the Master stages are all in the World 9 and 10 background.
Ready?
Yeah, we're in the last. Well, Warpless would be 20 levels of the game, but we're gonna be skipping quite a lot of them.
Yeah, there's like quite a couple warp goals in here that are gonna make this really nice for me. So we'll have one more and then kind of another section where there isn't really much to talk about. So again, I'll throw it over if there's any questions, any announcements, by all means.
Yeah, I'll just give a quick reminder that we're watching No Glitches Allowed 2025, which is an annual charity event featuring speedruns that rely on execution of intended mechanics more than great game-breaking glitches.
Ready?
No-Go will be live Wednesday, April 23rd through Sunday, April 27th, raising money for the Go Rescue Pet Adoption Center. And if you want to see the full schedule, you can type !schedule in chat.
Ready? Go!
This is one of my favorite stages in the game, Long Taurus. Very unpopular opinion because people generally don't like the round collisions in Monkey Ball games, but I love Long Taurus in this game. You're getting the nice version that does not have that invisible collision that I talked about before.
In terms of the like roundness of the level, it's not that bad. If you like look closely, it's like still pretty angular, so you can still get yourself up and over. I didn't realize that you can just do it that.
Yeah.
easily.
This is one of those stages where the physics in this game kind of take a very big difference in the strategy because you can just like hold up and just go straight through it, where I don't believe that is possible in the original game.
Yeah, I think that strat
At least with that much lenience.
has you have to pause at like 0.61 or something. I do a pause at this very end, where I look at the textures on the floor, and everyone hates it, but I do it anyway because I'm brave and I'm strong.
Yeah, when it comes to strategies in this game, there's generally 3 different types of strategies. There's texture cues, where you look for a specific texture on the floor or in the level, and align yourself with that to do a lineup of any kind. It could be to launch yourself into the goal, it could be to hit off a specific part of the stage.
Ready?
There are timer cues, where you look for a specific number on the timer. And I said there was 3. Banana cues, where you look for a specific number of bananas or a specific like location of the bananas. And based on that, you can do a variety of things. So there's a bunch of different ways to kind of look for what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, I'm personally most partial to just like timing it out in my head. Like, it's pretty easy to align stuff to like the timer, but you just have to have a lot of like game knowledge to be able to do that.
That is going to be one of the last 2 warp goals that we take throughout this entire run. It's a really cool strat that I'm going to try to do on sliced cheese.
Oh yeah,
There.
sliced cheese is good in this
Yeah!
game.
Sliced cheese is awesome in this game because that strat exists.
Yeah, in Monkey Ball 2, you take the green goal, so you can
Ready?
go to planets and then take the red goal on planet. So you end up skipping more, but it's just faster to play sliced cheese in this game because 8 Seesaws always has like a strat that just like lets you get to the very end.
Yeah.
So you take the green goal, the red goal, and then this green goal in Monkey Ball 2, but the routing is just different. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, in this game, the planet's red goal is a green goal. It is one of the only ones, if not the only one, where they changed the warp goal color for no real reason.
Oh, so then you'd have to play Helix?
Ready? Go!
You get
I think that's
Helix
right.
green goal?
That or it just brings you to sliced cheese. I forget.
Interesting. Okay, I'm learning so much.
But yeah, it's changed in color. I just forget the numbers.
Final
Anyways, this is
ready?
the final stage of the run. Time will be when I enter the goal. But this is a rather tricky stage. It's kind of the same thing as Edgemaster in SMB1 Master, where it is a rotating platform that I kind of have to maintain balance on and kind of navigate these transitions. I'm doing this mostly based on a timer cue, and it's really generous.
Yeah,
As unfortunate.
at the very end, yeah. Yeah, there's divots in this level, so instead of just having to like fall off and like hold into the stage, you are able to like fall into the divot and then get out, just make it a little bit safer, but you don't have to.
Ooh. If I go a little bit too early, generally I'll fall off the front like that. One thing, if you've played the original Super Monkey Ball 2, this is a different version of the stage from SMB or Super Monkey Ball Deluxe, where Deluxe was released on a bunch of different platforms, and as a result, they had to get rid of the stage. This was originally Nintendo, where this was a model of the Nintendo GameCube, which was like really cool because it was modeled like true to the GameCube. It wasn't just like a cube. It had like all the little like connector ports and all that. Like it was
really
awesome.
in-depth. Yeah, like every like the fangirl was just like a great, and it like had like individual collision for all the holes. It was like really cool.
Yeah. Anyways, time's gonna be coming up right about now, and time.
GG's.
GG.
Thank you. So yeah, that is SMB2 Marathon. That time is definitely not accurate. That is probably a side effect of using my resetting mod to do a bunch of funny stuff. But yeah, that is SMB2 Marathon. I love this game. I love getting to show it off. Thank you, Noga, for having me. Really quickly, I'll go through shoutouts. Shout out to, first and foremost, the Banana Era community. I love the Banana Era speedrunning community. And everyone who's in it. Limey, thank you so much for being on comms. Deadline for making all the custom character stuff and kind of keeping the modding community active alongside myself and a couple others. If you are interested, you can find the Banana Era Speedrunning Discord on our speedrun.com page for both Banana Mania, Banana Rumble, and Banana Blitz HD, but nobody plays that game right now. So yeah, that's shoutouts from me. You can find me at iswimfly556 on Twitch. I mostly play Monkey Ball. This is kind of Monkey Ball. This is one of those custom stages I was talking about. I just thought it'd be funny to show this off while I was doing shoutouts. You can find me at iswimfly.bsky.social, where I post things like when I do funny stuff like this in video games. And yeah, that's really it from me. Limey, you're the next run, so do you want to do shoutouts now, or do you want to save shoutouts for the next run?
I'll say shoutouts for my run.
Awesome.
That means
right.
you in chat. I'm looking at you. You in chat. You have to.
You gotta stick around. You gotta stick around for the Quake randomizer. But yeah, that's gonna be everything from me. This is Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania. Go pick this game up on Steam. It is really cool.
Thank you so much, iswimfly, for that run. It was a super, super entertaining run. The time just flew by. I almost didn't realize we were at the end until we were. We're going to take a very, very short break while we get a couple things set up. But don't go anywhere, because as was mentioned, we've got the Quake randomizer coming up next, and you're not going to want to miss that. Stay tuned. Hello, chat. Welcome back to No Glitches Allowed 2025. I'm currently your host, but my hosting shift is very, very rapidly coming to an end. Fear not, I'm keeping you in the capable hands of Selkuthmind, who's joining me right now. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like I said, when the run ended, I lost track of time. I didn't even realize we were coming up on time until they said it in the run. Yeah, we have an incentive of $2,000 we're currently trying to get. And if we can get the $2,000 before the start of the Final Fantasy Type 0 HD run, we get to put a hat on a character. We love our hats. Get those donations in. And speaking of getting donations in, we do have one other incentive. You want to hear about that? We got the bid war for Project Plus, which is a in-game tag bid war. And there are 4 options. You get to pick the name of the character in the game. We've got okay. Yeah, they're all good options. I think colon 3 is a good one, and it is currently in the lead at $10. If you want to change that, make sure you get those donations in.
Indeed, indeed. Well, thank you, TFT, for chatting with me.
Yeah. You all
And,
for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. We'll be back, everyone, in just a minute with our next run. All right, everyone. As you may or may not have heard, I heard we had a few tech issues there. My name is Selkuthmind, but you can call me Sel, and I am very excited to be your next host here at No Glitches Allowed 2025. Of course, we are here raising money for Go Rescue Pet Adoption Center, a dog shelter in Hampton, Virginia. Go Rescue works to provide a haven for homeless dogs, giving them the time, care, and love they need to find not just any home, but the right home. The right home is such an important thing for an animal, and we want the best for them, and that's why we are here raising money for them. We've already raised $1,757, which is incredible. We do have a goal to reach $2,000 by the start of our first run tomorrow morning. If we reach that goal, then we will get to give Chichuyu, a character, a hat. I don't know much about this hat, but based on what I know about Final Fantasy Type O HD, the hats in this game are really cool. And so I want to see that hat. I'm sure you all want to see that hat. Donate. Every donation goes towards getting this hat added to the character. And you can donate as little as $1, and it goes to a great cause. We do also have another incentive that is open. That's for Project Plus. It's for the in-game tag, and you get to decide what we're going to name the character for this. So we've got Mario, Gamer, :3, and Noga. I personally really like the :3 option. That is in the lead right now, but not by a whole lot. It's only in the lead by, I believe, $10. So you could easily change that with your donation. And of course, we are a proud partner with the Japanese RTA community to offer a Japanese language restream. If you prefer to watch the event with Japanese commentary, you can head on over to twitch.tv/Japanese_restream or type !Japanese in chat. Super cool that we have another language restream here at this event. It's always so cool to get to bring these events to a broader community. Because after all, not everyone understands English. So it's incredible. But with that, we'll be back in just a minute with our next run.